Your credit score is not just a three-digit number. It is a measurement of trust. It is the financial report card that tells every bank, lender, landlord, and sometimes even potential employers exactly how you handle responsibility. Most people believe that building a great credit score is a slow, agonizing process that takes decades. But that is a myth. It is a slow process only if you do not understand the rules of the game. If you understand the mechanics, if you understand how the algorithm actually views your behavior, you can optimize your profile, patch the holes, and skyrocket your score much faster than you think. This is not about tricks or shortcuts. This is about financial engineering. Let's start with the most misunderstood factor of your score: credit utilization. This is the single biggest lever you have. Most people are walking around with high balances on their cards, thinking that as long as they pay the minimum on time, they're fine. That is false. Your credit utilization is the ratio of how much debt you currently owe compared to your total available credit limit. The rule of thumb you have heard is to keep it under 30%. That is the bare minimum for not hurting your score. If you want an elite score, you need to keep it under 10%. Here's the trick that nobody talks about. The credit card companies report your balance to the bureaus on your statement closing date, not your payment due date. This is the difference between an amateur approach and a professional one. Most people wait for their statement to arrive, see a high balance, pay it off, and think they're in the clear. But the damage is already done. The bank already reported that high balance to the credit bureaus as your utilization for that month. If you want to see your score jump in 30 days, you need to change your rhythm. Log into your account 3 days before your statement closing date. Check your balance. Pay off almost all of it, leaving a tiny, manageable balance on the account. When the statement finally closes, the bank reports a tiny balance to the credit bureaus, even if you spent thousands of dollars throughout the month. Your utilization ratio suddenly drops from 30 or 50% to 2%. Your score will climb because the algorithm sees a responsible user who uses credit but does not live on it. Now let's talk about the foundation, which is your payment history. This accounts for 35% of your FICO score. There is no strategy here, only discipline. If you miss a payment by 30 days, you do not just get a late fee, you potentially destroy years of hard work. The quickest way to ruin a score is a single missed payment. If you are struggling to keep track of multiple cards, stop. Automate the minimum payment on every single account you have. Set it as a default. If you manually pay your cards, you are leaving your financial future to your memory, and your memory is not reliable. Automation is not laziness, it is a defensive strategy. There is another strategy that many people ignore because it feels like a loophole, and that is becoming an authorized user. If you have a family member or a trusted friend who has a credit card with a perfect history, a high limit, and the account has been open for a long time, ask them to add you as an authorized user. You don't even need to hold the physical card. As soon as that account hits your credit report, you inherit the history of that account. Their perfect payment history becomes your payment history. Their account age becomes part of your account age. This is often the fastest way for someone with thin credit to jump 100 points. But be careful, you are tethering your reputation to theirs. If they start missing payments or maxing out that card, their mistakes become your mistakes. Only do this with people whose financial habits are impeachable. Let's address the elephant in the room: hard inquiries. People are terrified of applying for new credit because they think one application will crash their score. It won't. A hard inquiry usually drops your score by a few points, and that impact fades within weeks and disappears entirely within a year. The problem is not the inquiry. The problem is the pattern. If you apply for 5 cards in 1 month, it signals to lenders that you are desperate for cash, which makes you a high-risk borrower. If you're going to apply for credit, be surgical. 1 application every 6 months is perfectly healthy. It shows growth. It shows you're expanding your financial reach. Do not be afraid of the inquiry. Be afraid of the frequency. We need to talk about age of credit. Many people have a credit card they opened when they were 22, they don't use it anymore, and they think, I should just close it to clean up my financial life. Do not do that. The length of your credit history is a major component of your score. When you close that old account, you are shortening your average account age and you are shrinking your total available credit, which instantly spikes your utilization. That old card is the anchor of your credit file. Keep it open. Even if you never use it, buy a pack of gum on it once a year to keep the account active so the bank doesn't shut it down. That card is not a burden. It is a foundation. A lot of people ask about credit mix. They ask if they need a car loan or a personal loan to boost their score. You need to be careful here. You should never ever pay interest just to build credit. That's a bad trade. However, if you are planning to take out a loan for a legitimate purchase like a car, understand that the algorithm likes to see you handle different types of debt. It wants to see you can manage a credit card, which is revolving credit, and an installment loan, which is fixed payments. If you only have credit cards, your profile is incomplete. But do not go out and take on debt you don't need just to satisfy a machine. Your financial health is more important than a few extra points. Let's pivot to the mindset of the high achiever. Most people view credit as a way to buy things they can't afford. That is the mindset of the debtor. You need to shift your perspective. Credit is a tool for leverage. A high credit score is not a trophy. It is a gateway. It allows you to borrow money at lower interest rates. It allows you to buy real estate with better terms. It allows you to scale businesses. If you're using your credit cards for everyday expenses like groceries and gas and you're paying them off in full every single month, you're effectively using the bank's money for free. You're getting points, you're getting rewards, and you're building your reputation with the bank. That's efficient. That's smart. That's how the wealthy use credit. They don't use credit to buy luxuries they can't pay for. They use credit to manage cash flow while their own cash sits in interest-bearing accounts. If your score is currently low because of mistakes in the past, stop looking for credit repair companies. There's nothing a credit repair company can do for you that you can't do for yourself for free. They're not magicians. They simply send letters to the bureaus disputing items on your report. You can do that. If you have negative items like collections or late payments, your only path is to wait them out or negotiate them down. If you have legitimate negative marks, they will fall off your report after 7 years. There's no button to push to delete them. Time is the only cure. Focus your energy on the variables you can control today. Look at your credit report, not your credit score. There's a difference. Your score is the output. Your report is the input. Go to annualcreditreport.com. It's the only site mandated by federal law to give you a free, comprehensive look at your data. Check every single line. Look for errors. Is there a balance that's wrong? Is there an address that isn't yours? Is there an account listed that you never opened? These are identity theft red flags or simple reporting errors. If you find one, dispute it. Don't just call the credit card company, file a formal dispute with the bureau. It forces them to investigate. If they can't verify the negative item, they have to remove it. This happens more often than you think. Clearing up a false negative mark is the fastest way to get a massive jump in your score. As you build this, you need to understand the concept of velocity. Credit building has velocity. You can't build an 800 score in a month, but you can build a 700 score in 6 months if you're disciplined. You start with the secured card or the authorized user strategy. You maintain 0 missed payments, you keep your utilization low, you let your account age grow. You stop applying for new cards. That's the recipe. It's boring, it's repetitive, and that's exactly why most people fail. They want the magic secret. They want the trick. But the strategy is actually just being predictable. Banks love predictable people. They are terrified of erratic people. When you're predictable, when you're consistent, when you're boring with your finances, the bank will reward you with higher limits. And higher limits make it easier to keep your utilization low, which makes your score go higher, which makes the bank offer you even better products. It's a virtuous cycle. Don't get hung up on the number. 750 is the goal. Once you hit 750, you qualify for the best interest rates. The difference between a 750 and an 850 is negligible. Don't stress over chasing an 850. It's a vanity metric. If you're at 750, you're winning the game.
Focus your energy on making more money and saving more money. Your credit score is just the gatekeeper. Your income and your assets are the real prize. If you obsess over your credit score but you don't have savings, you are building a beautiful house on a foundation of sand. Let's talk about the danger of lifestyle creep. When you get those high credit limits, you'll feel richer than you are. You'll look at your bank account, then look at your credit limit and feel like you have all this power. This is the moment most people ruin their finances. Do not mistake access to capital for wealth. Credit is a loan. It is not income. If you buy a $5,000 television because you have a $10,000 credit limit, you have not succeeded. You have just committed to paying interest on a depreciating asset. Always, always, always treat your credit card like a debit card. If you can't afford to pay for it in cash today, you can't afford to buy it on credit. Use the card for the points, use the card for the fraud protection, use the card for the credit history, but treat the money as if it is leaving your checking account the moment you swipe. If you are currently in debt, the strategy changes. Stop worrying about your credit score and start worrying about your interest rate. High-interest debt is a financial emergency. If you are paying 25% interest on a credit card, you are losing money faster than you can build credit. Attack that debt. Use